3, 2, 1. What's going on, everybody? This is the Undefeated by Choice podcast brought to you by Still Fist. I'm here with the second half of next Friday's, June 28th, main event. Mr. Brian Thomas, how's it going, man?
Doing well. How about yourself?
I'm excellent. First of all, I gotta thank you for the shirt. Dom Salas said he was gonna get me a shirt, but you came rolling in with the shirt. Why don't you explain a little bit about this shirt?
So when I fight, I do it for charity, and my son was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes back when he was 4. He just barely turned 16 just 2 weeks ago.
Oh, wow.
And so I do everything that I bring in, from my fight purse to t-shirt sales, ticket sales, all of that goes 100% to the JDRF to help further research and basically trying to find a cure and help advance new technologies for people living with type 1 diabetes.
Yeah, I've been seeing you've been posting that's what you do, and I wanted to get into that. I want to talk about it because I'm pretty sure you're the only fighter that fights for a cause that does something like this, that gives up your entire purse for that. And I was going to ask what was the reason, because it's funny that I've grown up with people who had diabetes my whole life, and I still don't know what it is. Like I know what it is, but like, for example, I used to work at Gold's Gym, and I was in the little smoothie shack that would sell like protein shakes and stuff. And this guy like runs in, and he's like, "Well, my blood sugar's really low. I need something right now." And I was like, "Oh, well, we have this," and like everything I was directing him to was the wrong, because I was like, if your blood sugar's low, you need sugar.
Right.
But he was like, so I don't know exactly what it was, but he was like, no. Like I was directing him to all the wrong stuff. So I'm like, how has this been around? And I've known people, and I'm still like, is it just constantly a balancing act that they're doing? Like trying to, sometimes they do need sugar, sometimes they don't, and
pretty much. So what it is, it's an autoimmune disorder in which the beta cells no longer function. Your pancreas shuts down and doesn't produce insulin. And so when you take in carbohydrates to convert them to glucose, you need to be able to shuttle that into your cells for energy. And so what happens is your pancreas stops producing the insulin. And so type 1 is different than type 2. Type 1, your pancreas essentially shuts down, and so you have to take an exogenous outside source of insulin to counter the carbohydrates that you eat. And so basically it's just a balancing act with, if you're the foods you eat, you count up your carbs and you have a ratio of how much insulin you need per carb, and for everybody that's a little bit different. And so for someone who's low, they need to bring their blood sugar up. Otherwise, they'll go into diabetic coma. So
are there like certain diets that just absolutely would not work for somebody that's on diabetes, or someone that has diabetes? Because when you were just saying that, I was like, oh, so if someone who counts their macros, would that be really good for someone who has diabetes to be on that type of diet? Like it could regulate it? Right.
So the better understanding that they have of their macros, they can control it a little bit better, as long as they're sticking to it. So basically, you have to test your blood sugar, anywhere from 4 or 5 times a day. Anytime that you're going to be consuming carbohydrates, you're going to want to take insulin to counter that.
Okay, because I know my dad, there was a point where he was diagnosed with type 2. And he just after that, because my house growing up was known as the hostess house. Like, and you came to my house, I was 280 pounds at one point. So when you came to my house, you're eating good. We were eating sugar and we were going nuts. And then he got diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, and he completely changed his diet. And it was like within 6 months, they're like, "Okay, you're good. You don't have it anymore."
Right.
And he still checks his blood like a few times a day, or just like a few times a week. He'll check it just to make sure he's not getting out of control, if he feels like maybe he might be lacking on his diet. Right. So I know in him it completely changed his life. From that point on, he was like, I'm not going back to that. I don't want to be insulin dependent or anything like that. Right.
And that's where type 2 is. It really is a different disease. It's basically you've overtaxed your pancreas to the point where you're not as insulin you're more insulin resistant.
Okay.
And so your pancreas is still producing insulin, but your body isn't using it as efficient as it should.
Yeah.
So.
And you said your boy's 16 now?
Yeah.
Just got his driver's license?
Yep, just got it.
Oh, what's that like?
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Is he going to get into fighting? Does he have any interest in it?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think so. He's into fast cars and dirt bikes and stuff like that. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a little, I don't know, is that more dangerous or less dangerous? Are you more nervous about that? I think I would be.
Yeah, it's probably more dangerous.
Yeah. I got a 3-year-old little girl, man. I just, I don't care if she fights or not, but she's definitely going to learn jiu-jitsu. No doubt about it.
Yeah.
As soon as she's old enough, she's going to learn how to roll. I need her to defend herself.
Yeah, I have two older boys as well, and the oldest one, he's 21. He's shown.
How do you have kids this old? Did you start when you were 7? Like. I don't think you're that much older than me. But.
I am pretty old. I hide it well. I did start early.
Okay. Because you're sitting here saying you have these old kids. I'm like, did you adopt them as adults or what? Like.
So I do have a mine, hers, and ours. So my son is 21. My wife had one from a previous marriage.
Okay.
He's 20, and then we have one together that's 16.
Nice,
so,
nice. Well, good for you. Full house, man. I can only do one.
Yeah.
That's the goal. One only. Stick with one. Well, good for you, man. I'm glad everyone's doing good. Glad. 16. I don't know what I'm going to do when my girl's 16. Be standing on the porch with a shotgun. Normally the first thing I talk about is the nickname. Now, you're one of the few that when you go to your Tapology page, and the only thing your Tapology page gives me is your nickname. It doesn't give me much else information, but it gives me your nickname, the Cannibal.
Right.
Where'd that come from? Who gave it to you?
So I started back in the Ultimate Combat days, and it was similar to Steel Fist. If you didn't have a nickname, they just give you the worst one ever. And so I was like, I might as well just come up with one. So I actually thought of that one myself. I'm not very attached to it, but the reason I went with the Cannibal is I love the idea of eating somebody's soul and taking on their powers. You know what I mean? And so that's kind of my fight style when I first started out. Is just grind them out and just steal their soul.
Okay,
so that's kind of where that came from.
All right. Okay, I like it. I'm trying to think of something that you could be like the Maori warrior or something like that, because they were all about like eating people's souls or whatever.
Right.
That's why they always stick their tongue out when they're doing the haka. But yeah, no, I like it. You're one of the few that I've ever heard that gave it to yourself.
Right.
I guess if it comes down to the promotion giving you the name or you giving it to yourself, you gotta just jump on it.
And like I said, I'm not I'm not glued to it by any means. But I was just scared.
This many fights in, you don't want to be changing. You don't want to be that guy. You don't want to be the P. Diddy of fights.
Right.
Changing your name every 5 minutes.
And I don't even know if most people know me by my nickname or not. So.
Yeah. No, that's just something I do. I love nicknames. I mean, no one called me Matt for the first 20 years of my life.
Yeah.
I've always had nicknames. They've always been different. I've always been all over the place. So I always find the nicknames interesting. And they're getting away from it. There's not even a ton of UFC fighters that actually go by it anymore. Other than like Stylebender.
Yeah.
Or like Bones Jones or something, which is one of the dumbest I've ever heard. Bones, it's not a good name. But anyways, cool. I like it. The Cannibal. So how's training camp going for you? We talked to your teammate. He's working hard, getting ready for his fight on the same night. Alden, how's it going for you, man?
That's been going great. We've been doing strength and conditioning with our coach in the mornings, waking up early, and it's really, we've kind of backed off the heavier weights and just gone, quite a bit more kettlebell and general physical preparedness. Just I think it translates a lot better to fighting, so it's been going really well that way.
Yeah, you and I were just talking before. You were kind of in the bodybuilding world before MMA. So is it harder for you to make that switch to do the kettlebells? Because I know for me, when I started doing kettlebells, I'm like, oh, this feels good. Like this is meant for fighters. I feel like the movement, but in that bodybuilding mindset, my mind's like, but you still gotta go out and
you get addicted to the pump. You know? So you just want to go get a good chest workout. Get some blood flowing in your legs from some squats and stuff like that. But so that's I'll take off quite a bit of time in between fights just because life happens. And so if I'm not training to fight, I'm at Vasa lifting. So I still get a little bit of both, and I don't know, it's pretty bad because you get body dysmorphia. You know what I mean? And it's
a very real thing. I mean, people think that, like, oh, they're just vain or they're whatever. But it, like, just to get real for a minute, like, coming from my background being 280 pounds and then losing the weight that I did, I still every day look at myself and see overweight. Even when I was preparing for my fight and I had abs and I was shredded, I was like, yeah, but if I eat, drink one little thing or eat one little thing, it's just going to be gone. And body dysmorphia is a lot of people joke around about it, but it's a very serious thing, and a lot of people take it to the extreme. They get eating disorders, so it's a scary thing. I'm not to that point. Well, I don't know. Some people might say that I'm you're addicted or you go to the gym too much, but where did your love of lifting or powerlifting come from? Like just getting into doing all that. What was it that caused you to go that route for a while?
Just needed an outlet. I played football, rode the bench in football in high school, and I wrestled. And then once those got done with, MMA wasn't as big as it is now. And so I just needed something to fill that spot. And I got in, just went down. It was Lifestyles 2000 back there in Orem, back when I started lifting. And so it was just me lifting with a couple buddies, and just you get addicted to the pump and just that feeling of you feel accomplished when you leave the gym.
Yeah.
And so then from there I went into doing some bodybuilding and stuff like that, and did a couple shows. But you get that image of yourself when you're cut, and just like we were talking before it started, when you're cutting for a fight even, and you have those abs, you're dehydrated, you've been, your nutrition has been on point for months.
Yeah.
And so you may look like that for 3-4 hours.
Yeah.
But then once you refuel the next day, even for the fight, you don't look the same.
Yeah.
And so you get a picture and you put it on a poster, everybody looks at you that way, and you're like, okay, yeah, but I'm not taking my shirt off now.
Yeah.
And so it really is. It messes with you because you set that as your standard in your head.
Yeah.
And any deviation from that, it messes with you.
Yeah.
And so fighting has actually helped me kind of come away from that, because it is weight class.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? So as long as I'm, feeling good for that weight class, I don't need to be the most shredded. I don't, and it's not healthy to be that shredded.
Not at all.
It really isn't. And so doing like kettlebells and stuff like that transfers a lot better over into MMA than the type of bodybuilding lifting.
Yeah,
so.
I love that. I love the movements you get from kettlebells. I'm glad you're doing those. I feel like they build I feel like they just build fight muscles is what I've called them.
Yeah.
I feel like they really do. You're constantly bending over and you're not. I don't know. It's not those prone positions where you're just sitting. And I tell people, like, how often are you on your back just doing a bench press and pushing somebody off of you like that? You're never doing that. You're so I'm glad you guys are doing that. And then you've had a few fights go to decision, so obviously your cardio's up, which again is against all bodybuilding mentality. Like, what do you do for your cardio? Has it grown exponentially as you've been fighting, or have you always had pretty decent cardio?
I've always had pretty decent cardio, and I think it stems from back in the wrestling days, back in high school, and it just transfers over. So with the charity that I do for the JDRF, we do the Ride to Cure, which is a 100-mile bike ride.
Okay.
And so me, my wife, and my 16-year-old, this will be my 5th ride this year. And so I actually ride a fixed gear bike, and so we do training rides. And so
fixed gear means you're not flipping through gears. You got one gear.
I have one gear. It's fixed in place, so when the pedals move, the back tire moves.
That's
and
insane.
So when the back tire moves, the pedal moves. So if I'm going downhill, it's actually pushing my feet.
Oh, that is crazy.
This last Sunday, we did, I think, 35 miles. We went from my house all the way up to the top of South Fork in Provo Canyon, and then back down to my house. And so that helps with a little bit of cardio as well. And then the kettlebells, and then of course, training.
Anybody who doesn't know anything about cycling, that is a fixed gear bike is insane. That's no wonder why you have cardio. That is like, I don't know how to explain it, because I used to cycle for a while. When I lost all my weight, I was really into cycling, and I rode a felt but it wasn't fixed gear at all. And I'd ride, Ogden to Roy every single day as my commute.
Right.
I was riding his commute, and that's most on the way back. It's most uphill. Without gears, I would never have done that. I would never even attempted that. Like, I was in the lowest gear. I was like, is there a lower gear I can find that where,
You switch gears in your head, so.
I guess that's how you do it. No, that's crazy.
It's pretty funny because when I show up with my fixed gear bike to the the Century ride on the charity ride, everyone's like, "He's no way he's finishing this."
Yeah.
And so I've done.
Yeah, because cyclists, they take it serious.
Yeah.
They don't mess around. They're like, no, you got to have down to the ounce. You got to lose that weight down to the ounce. You got to have this bolt instead of this bolt. Holding your tire on, or else that's too much weight and it's gonna slow you down.
Right.
And I used to get weird looks because I was riding a cycling bike, but I'd have like basketball shorts on and a backpack, and they're like people so I'd get like dirty looks from the cyclists because I wasn't a real cyclist. So I'd get dirty looks from like the road bikers because I was on a cycling bike and like I had my clip-ins and I didn't fit into either realm.
And that's kind of how we are. We're not cyclists. We're not a cyclist family, but we do it for the charity.
For a reason.
So.
And then you go and you kill it with a fixed gear bike.
Right.
And then again, man, hats off to you on that. That's pretty awesome. So I'm guessing the weight cut probably isn't really an issue with you. I mean, you're doing wrestling. That's something you did all the time.
Right.
And then doing as much, if you're doing that type of cycling or that type of riding and that much cardio, is the weight cut a big thing or?
No. And so I've decided as I get older, cutting that much weight and the more I learn about hydration and how important it is, the more I'm straying away from cutting that much. And so I'm pretty much done cutting down to lightweight. So 55, I'm done with that. So
past.
70 is a lot more natural body weight for me. My last fight was a fairly easy cut, and I'm maybe 10 pounds out right now, so I'm not worried about this one as well. So
that's not a problem at all. 10 pounds out at this. I mean, we're about a week out.
Yeah,
a week tomorrow. We're a week out. So that's good. What's your diet normally? Like, do you follow any specific type of diet, or you just eat clean and kind of balance it there?
So back when I was doing lightweight, I got into keto, and I'd been doing keto for about 4 years, and that helped.
Oh wow, that's early on the keto train.
Yeah. And so that helped out quite a bit getting that lean and down to that body weight. But I feel like I'm able to eat a lot more carbs, but I'm still slipping in and out of ketosis. I've got my ketone meter, blood meter, and I'll check it every once in a while just to kind of see where I'm at, just for fun. And so, several practices, I'll come home, I'll check it, and I'll be in ketosis, you know what I mean? And I'll have eaten carbs before, and so I'll burn through that glucose, slip into ketosis, and then burn ketones for fuel throughout the rest of the practice. And so I've kind of tuned my body into that. And so I'm with coming back up to welterweight, because my first 2 fights were at welterweight before I went down to lightweight, and coming back up to welterweight, I feel it's a lot easier. I can be a little bit more dirty on my diet, but I still eat fairly clean, comparatively. So
I mean, you've heard so many fighters say that recently, and it's so funny that it's recently that fighters are saying it. But I mean, how long fighting's been going on, how long wrestling's been going on, how long all this, all these weight cuts have been going on, where people are saying, fighting closer to my natural weight class, I feel so much better. It's like, why did we go so long where people were just cutting like crazy? I mean, they've already known that you feel better when you're just closer to your natural weight. Why have we been doing these crazy cuts?
So many people, they want that extra little advantage, and they think by doing that you're getting that, but you're not. You're actually dehydrating yourself to the point where there's no way, if you cut that much water, there's no way you can get fully rehydrated even in that 24-hour period. And so you're still at a deficit,
I guess I still have that mindset, because I think if I ever pick up a fight again, it's got to be at 170, which I walk around at 205, and I'm like, but then I look at the 185ers and I'm like, I don't want any of it.
Right, and I think that's where the cutting.
But I'm their size. I'm their same size. I got that body dysmorphia.
Exactly.
I'm like, oh, those guys are way bigger than I am. I mean, and so it's funny because as I'm saying, why do we do that? And then I'm thinking to myself, well, if I do it, I'm cutting down to 170 for sure.
Exactly.
So, I guess that's how it is. I don't know. But there was one other thing we talked about beforehand. And it was, I was talking kind of about your fight style, and you said, well, it's definitely evolved over the time. And I didn't mean to say that we fight very similar. What I meant to say was, you have the type of fight style that I would like to have. Is what I meant to say. Is what I wanted to say. I misworded that, but so we were talking about you being a wrestler. So early on, I'm guessing your fight style was brawl, get in close, try to get a takedown, throw heavy hands. But we were talking about, it was the Chandler fight in particular, where you two were both very light on your feet, very technical striking, and so like how has that developed? How recently has that developed? And like, what was kind of the journey that led you to say, okay, I need to change this up?
Just that whole, just wanting to get better in all aspects of the sport. And I know that had always been kind of lacking. Mm-hmm. And so, it took a long time to get it to where, and I'm just barely starting to use my angles and the distance and everything like that. And it's really coming a long ways. So, well,
you come from a great camp to develop that stuff. You come from a camp that is kind of known to have very technical strikers who take really good angles.
Yeah,
so is that something that are you guys drilling just angle? Like what kind of type of practices are you having that's helping you develop that game plan? Because the way I see it is, when I hear someone is coming out of your camp, I'm kind of expecting them to have that type of fight style.
Yeah. So Jason's he does really well at breaking that down and adding that into our drills and seeing where we need to basically what we need to work on individually. And since we've kind of downsized and now we're training out of the Coach Arnold's garage, basically.
I love that.
He's Jason has been able to specify each individual drill catered to whoever has a fight coming up, mm-hmm. needs to be working on this, and this, and we're doing that with our jiu-jitsu as well, and we've seen some really good improvements just off of that.
Cool, man. I like it. I really like your camp. And I love that you guys are training out of a garage, like or a shed or whatever you want to call it.
So we do our strength and conditioning out of Jason's garage in his house, and then we do all of our other training out of Arnold's garage right there. So
I love it. I love the big camp. Like I went out and did some work over at Tandy's gym at Wasatch.
Yeah,
and that gym is beautiful. I mean, that thing is like the Taj Mahal of gyms in Utah. Like that thing is amazing. But there's nothing like the down and dirty. Like we're in a garage doing this. Like this is how much we love it. Like I like the contrast in both. Like I think you can gain so much by big gyms full of people.
Right.
Tons of rounds, tons of experience. Tons of everything is there at your leisure. But I also like we got. I mean, that's where flipping tires came from. Like what are we gonna do? What do we got to do to get stronger? I got a big ass tire over there to start flipping that. That's gonna get you stronger. And then now that's like a staple in almost every gym. So I really like that you guys do that. I like you guys' camp, and I hope to make your coach laugh in the in the back this time around, man. He wasn't having it last time.
That's funny.
So June 28th, you've got Carson Hardman. If you haven't seen a Carson fight, you kind of know how they all go.
Right.
What are you expecting out of this fight? What do you see your strengths being? What are you going to look out for what he's doing? How's this thing playing out in your head?
I just see it being a good hard fight. You know, if it goes all 3 rounds to decision, I think it'll be something for the fans to really enjoy. So.
Oh yeah, I mean I have, like I was saying to him, I don't I usually have this is my dark horse fight of the night, and I think these guys are going to kind of steal the show. Not this card. You guys, this fight is what I expect to be the fireworks. This fight, even if it ends in the first round, it's going to be fireworks until it ends. Having seen some of your fights, having seen some of his fights, I don't see there being another chance of just it being exciting. When I'm telling people to watch this fight, I'm like, guys, this is the fight. Sticker, do not miss this main event. Do not miss that.
I'm expecting a dogfight.
Yeah,
I really am.
Yeah, so. It's super exciting. And is there anything in particular you're working is there anything in particular you're working on to be, you know, to better your game in this fight? Or are you kind of just all around just trying to? Is there anything new you're trying to work on, or are you just trying to?
Not necessarily. Just
sharpen up everything that you're already doing.
Yeah, just keep you know, trying to advance everything, you know, about my martial arts, you know. So.
Yeah. Well, let's see. There's a ton of questions I had about this whole thing. Then once I start talking about the actual fight, I get super excited about it because I mean, this is, you know, like I think the two of you have kind of been fighting the best of the best for a while in Utah, in your weight class, and like this fight is a fight that I feel like could have happened a long time ago,
right?
And now you're both. I feel like you're both. It's just like the right time for you guys to be fighting, to be going on to this. And I think this is one of those fights that's going to be kind of like a. This is one of those fights that. Is going to be a big deal. Like, right. I think this is going to be one of those fights that people are going to look back at and be like, oh, that's when this guy's career took off, or that's when this guy's, you know, whatever, took it to the next level. Like, right. Like this is a good, hard fight that I'm super excited to see. There was one question I was going to ask you about, you know, you giving your purse to charity. Is there ever going to be a point where that doesn't happen anymore? Is there ever going to be a point where the paychecks are coming in big enough that you're going to be like, well, maybe I should start taking a little bit of it?
I don't know. That's hard to say because you know, as far as mixed martial arts go, I am getting towards the end of that.
No, dude, you look like you're 23. you don't look like you're towards the end.
I shaved the sides now, all my grays coming in, but
you don't look like you're towards the end. Don't start saying that. It's all a mindset.
No, you know, as long as I can keep hanging with these young guys, you know, I have no, you know, I retire every fight, come back, you know, and it's just because I've got kids, I've got a mortgage, have a wife, you know what I mean? I have my own business. And so when I buckle down, I train to fight. And so everything else just kind of gets put on that back burner. And so I get behind in life. And so once that's done, because I don't want to go into a fight not giving it my all. I think that's disrespectful to my opponent. And so it really does kind of consume me. And so in between fights, it's like, I got to get caught back up, you know? And so I've been fighting for, I think it's been 11 years, just off and on, but there's been 3 years between fights. And so I don't know what my long-term goals are. I'm just focusing on the next fight as it comes and just a way to, you know, raise awareness and bring money to the charity. So
I don't know, man. I mean, I'm just, every time I see you, I'm just gonna expect you to be coming back the next couple months or whatever. Because like, you know, even like the pictures you guys post and like your camp and stuff, like you're always the ones like having fun. Like you're the youthful one. Like everyone else is like, you know, Alden sitting there, you know, towering above everybody else with his arms folded, and, you know, and then you're like, you know, arms spread, like big old cheesy grin on your face, and I'm like, oh, he's like a young guy, and then, you know, and so like leading up to this, I was like, oh yeah, I mean, I saw you had, you know, 11 fights, but still, I mean, there's people who are, you know, you can get a fight every month if you want. So, you know, so that I didn't put any thought into that. So, I mean, I thought this guy is, he's, you know, this is, so anyways, I just think that, age is just a number.
It is.
Don't even worry about it.
It really is. And, you know, I live a healthy lifestyle. I understand, I'm really passionate about the health industry. And so nutrition and, you know, just physical, like, you know, lifting and staying healthy. Like I'll still have fun and lighten up in between and stuff like that. But for the most part, I live a healthy lifestyle, and you know, I feel like it's kind of crossed over into longevity, and that's helped out quite a bit. So there's really, I don't know how long I'll do this, but it probably won't be anytime soon that I'll retire. So.
Don't retire after this one. We want to keep seeing you, man. I want to keep seeing you. I want to bring you back here on the show.
Well, it's funny too, because of that, like my fight poster, when Amanda and Kevin, you know, sent me that picture, that was from that Jordan Chandler fight, which was 3 years ago, right? And they Kevin said to me, hey, you know, you okay with us using this picture? It's like, yeah, fine by me, as long as nobody gets upset when I show up looking like Fat Thor from Endgame, you know, like, because I don't think I've cut
the Lebowski board, Lebowski Thor.
I don't think I've cut my hair since then, you know, and I've been kind of doing a Viking braid, you know, since then and stuff. I got the beard, so it's like, people have been making comments like, "Is that your younger brother? Is that your son?" You know what I mean? So
well, the whole thing, that whole fight poster has been nothing but controversy since they posted it. Everyone's saying it looks like a before and after picture of like a trainer. Like you guys look like brothers. Someone called you gingers. Like that thing has been nothing but a headache for me because I've been like, I gotta get on this thing and defend these guys.
No, just let it build the hype, let it buzz. You know.
Yeah. And then everyone's saying Carson looks like this famous gamer.
This
Pifu guy. And then I looked him up. I'm like, actually, he kind of does look like him. So, yeah. No, it's it's funny. It's funny to see the people like I've never dealt with like trolls before until I took over the Stillfist page.
Okay.
People are ruthless on the freaking internet, man. Like it's ridiculous. Like people are just coming at you for no reason. The last card, they were like, "What is this? The dad bod card?" And I was like, but now after Daniel Cormier and Andy Ruiz. Everyone's wanting to be thicker. And he thought, you're going to go up to heavyweight now? Just give up on your diet altogether?
Well, that's like we were just talking beforehand. Like, I slip into that dad bod image in between fights. So you get relaxed and you're not training as hard. And I still try to make it in every once in a while. But it's you start eating and food's delicious. So
dude, it's the bane of my existence.
Yeah.
Every time I'm like, I'm just gonna get that. I'm gonna eat that ice cream, man. That's ice cream is my big ice cream and hamburgers.
I'm a candy fiend.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I'll straight up steal candy. I tell people all the time, like, I don't like steal from the grocery store or anything like that. I've never been a thief in my life. But if I go to your house and there's candy, I will take it and I won't think twice about it. I will sneak into your kitchen, be like, I gotta get a drink of water, and I'll grab your candy. That's just who I am. That's like, get over it. If I come to your house, you're going to be missing candy.
Yeah, if we do like a little binge night, you know what I mean, have a cheat meal, like mine's candy. And so I'll go to the grocery store and I'll be like, I try to, kind of tone it down a little bit. But I've got food groups for candy. I've got something from the chocolate group, something from the caramel group, something from the licorice group, something from the sour group, you know what I mean? And it's like, it's not just like one or two things. It's like the bags of candy. And
along with that, this is fat kid talk right here.
Right.
Talking fat right now. Like when you have like a candy that tries to put it all together, most times that's a miss. It's just too much.
Yeah.
And so like you're saying, you gotta separate it. You gotta have one of this and one of that. That's all. I'll do that all the time. And then I'll get my adjustments. I'll take like an M&M and a pretzel and this, and I'll mix. I'll do the mixture. So yeah, man, yep. I know what you're talking about. So that's funny when you can get two people who've been into fitness together. They can talk fat food better than fat people can.
Oh yeah, because you live that healthy lifestyle, and then when you binge, it's like, hey, it's on.
I tell people all the time, man. I miss Fat Matt. I miss the way Fat Matt used to eat, man. I used to go to town on food. I had it all. Anyways, one of the other questions I always do is, how do you like fighting for Stillfist? Is there anything we can be doing better? How do you stack us up against other organizations? We always want to know people's opinion of our show and what we could be doing better.
I think you guys are doing a great job. This will be only the second time I fought for Stillfist, but I'm a huge fan. I'm there at most of the shows, and I think that adding this social media platform that you're doing has just been awesome. And so, yeah, you're definitely on the right track.
Thank you. We love it. We love to hear all the positive stuff. Haven't heard anything bad yet. Well, just kidding. No, I haven't. No, I don't think anyone would ever say it to my face. Anyways, now we get to my favorite. That's my favorite part, but it's everyone else's favorite part. I know it's Cody's favorite part. Trash talking. And you're one of the few that when I said, the trash talking, you're like, yeah, I know what it is. I've watched the episode. So thank you. First of all, thank you for watching the show. So there it is, the famous insult generator. The red button right there is down there is what you press. It says insult or generate insult. And since you are a fan, since you know what this whole segment is, you can press this as many times as you want until you find a real good one. Because some people, I just make them take whatever's on there. I'm like, if you're not gonna watch this, I'm not gonna let you. Yeah. But if you've seen,
we'll do the first one.
Oh, you got it. Oh, good. I like it.
Well, no, I haven't pressed it yet. But I'll say whatever.
You're just gonna go with the first one. Okay, perfect.
So and I'll hold off until after I say it. So on June 28th, I'm gonna kick Carson Hardman. Sorry, he changed his name. Carson Hardman. We're gonna go to town, and the reason is he is a duck-smelling snot smoker. Let's do it again.
That was snot smoker.
Yeah. So here we go. On June 28th, Carson Hardman and I, I was a fan. I used to love to watch him fight, so it's hard to change the
switch
name.
it up.
So
it's all right.
I'm gonna kick his ass because we're not connected anymore.
You lost it. Okay, now we're back. Okay.
All right.
The word is. I'm not gonna let you do that one. That was stupid.
No.
They're all. I need to find a new generator. I'm not a. That one's gonna get you some.
Okay.
That one's gonna get you some hits.
All right, because he is a grandpa stealing ass rider.
There you go. Whenever there's a swear word in there, it makes it better, and whenever it says the word boner, it makes it better. Alden's made me laugh so hard because it just had the word boner in it. I don't know what else it said, but it had the word boner in it, and I'm 12 years old, so I laughed at it. I'm a child at heart, so I laughed at it. Do you have any? This shirt's got all sorts of sponsors on the back. You got any sponsors or anybody you want to thank?
So I kept the t-shirts that I'm selling. They're going for $20. I kept the sponsors off the back, but I keep them on my walkout. They're on mine right here.
Okay, yeah.
So
that's what it was. I saw you walking with it, and I looked at it.
Right. I'd like to thank Rockwell watches. Got my Rockwell right here. Rockwell glasses right there. My good friend Ryan over at Ultimate Body Works. He's my massage therapist. Helps me stretch out and stuff like that, and he's just all around great dude. Of course, the JDRF, just trying to raise money and awareness for them. I'm sure I'm forgetting a couple people, but for the most part, my teammates, my coaches, my family, they've been just a huge help. So.
Awesome. I got something to say to the Rockwell guys. Okay. They did all the video for my first fight, and I've been emailing them, trying to get a hold of the video since that happened, and I've gotten 0 responses. Now, after the fight, they were best friends with me. We were all dancing in the club. They were running up to me, "Hey, you should get sponsored by us. We love you. That was awesome. It was such a great fight, blah, blah, blah." And then gave me his card, and then I've never heard from him since. So if you're in contact with them, let them know that Matt Euler has a bone to pick with them, because I just would like to see the video, the good video, not the stupid camera phone videos that I've been watching for the past 3 years. I want to see my actual fight. So
I'll hit him up.
If you know, because Jordan Chandler is sponsored by, or was sponsored by them as well. And I asked him, he's like, "Oh, they're too busy." I'm like, "Man, all you got to do is
Yeah, that's funny, because when we fought each other, we were both sponsored.
It was a winning night for them. It was a winning night for them. All right, well, thank you for being on the show, man. Best of luck, June 28th. Everybody, get your tickets from Brian. If you support Brian, get your tickets from Brian. Even if you don't support him, still get your tickets from Brian. If you can't get them from him, go to stillfistfight.com. Look us up on YouTube, iHeartRadio, and iTunes under the Undefeated by Choice podcast. You can also find the Still Fist page on Instagram on Still Fist Fight, and on Facebook at Still Fist Fight Night. Everybody, be good to yourself, be good to each other. I love you.
Let's begin.